Hoosiers! Welcome back, everyone, to episode 19 of the Brodie Pod. Real quick, be sure to like and subscribe on the YouTube or turn on notifications. Be sure to follow the show on Spotify and rate it. Helps out a lot. If you want to stay up to date on the show, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Brodie Pod. There's been absolutely bangers the last week on the clips. So, yeah. As Matt alluded to, the Hoosiers are flipping champs, as the wise words of Fernando Mendoza. The national championship was, well, I guess when we're recording this, it was last night. And they've moved on. But we're going to do a little bit of recap of the national championship, kind of what we saw, what we kind of maybe almost expected. Before we get into the national championship, we're going to get into Brodie's of the Week. Matt, start us off with your Brodie's of the Week.
Alrighty, first Brodie might come as kind of a shock to some people, probably a lot of people. Caleb Williams, quarterback, Chicago Bears. I do know they lost. I'm well aware. I do know he had 3 interceptions in that game against the Rams. I'm well aware.
We don't care about those.
The last one, I don't want to get going on that, but that wasn't his fault. I think that was more DJ Moore's fault, lack of effort in the route. But anyways,
I think I know why you did this. Is it the play?
That's partially why. But I will say, I didn't pick Caleb Williams because of the box score, the counting stats. It's more so just kind of the intangibles, I would say. So, I mean, I'll go over the tangibles first, though. So, in the playoffs,
the tangibles.
This is his second season in the league. This was his obviously his first 2 playoff games. So, 618 passing yards, 52% completion percentage, not great. 4 passing touchdowns to 5 interceptions, also not great. That's not really what you want in the playoffs, but honestly, why I have him there is his fourth quarter performances. He's Caleb Iceman Williams. I mean, he comes alive really when it matters most. Again, I do know he had an interception in overtime. I understand that, but you gotta take into account it's his second year in the league. I just think there's just so much potential there. There's so much talent there. And I think he's given the entire city of Chicago like hope for the future.
I think he's given them new life.
Like we've talked about, like one of the last couple episodes, we talked about Ben Johnson and how he was able to turn around the Bears and how they were last place, 3 years prior to this year. He's not going to be successful if he doesn't have his franchise guy at QB.
And honestly, I think you bring up a good point about what they've done in the short time that they've been together, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. Just real quick, in their first season as head coach and quarterback together, they have an NFC North title. They were the number 2 seed in the NFC. They had their first playoff win for Chicago since 2010, and they beat the Packers twice. So I think they were ahead of schedule this year. Their defense lacked a little bit, but I mean, like, the future in Chicago, if I'm a Bears fan, it's looking bright as long as these 2 guys are at the helm.
Yeah, like, I don't think anybody thought they could win the Super Bowl. I think they might have got a little in over their head, the playoff-wise. Like, I don't even think they were supposed to make it that far. Like, nobody expected
it was a lot of luck to get to this point, and it just kind of ran out.
Again, I will say, it's a lot of Caleb showing up in the fourth quarter. Had a hell of a fourth quarter against the Packers, was able to clutch that out. And like you mentioned earlier, the play against the Rams
extended their season at least into overtime.
Yeah, it was 17-10. They were driving down. They stalled out a little bit. It was 4th and 4. Game on the line, season on the line. This is probably the biggest game he's ever been in. Obviously, right?
Up to this point. Yeah, I think he has bigger games in his future.
Definitely does, I think. But ball is snapped. He's got guys in his face immediately. Pause. The D line is
4th and 4.
It was 4th and 4. I don't know how much time was left. It was like a minute and a half.
It was like 30 seconds.
Was it that low?
Yeah.
Okay. Even
the
better.
Screenshot I'm looking at it right now, he's running backwards with 22 seconds on the clock.
Okay. Well, there you go. Running backwards, probably 10, 20 yards backwards.
It was more than that. It was insane.
He ran backwards a lot because the defensive line was in his face like immediately at the start of that play. He throws this ball off his back foot, mind you, off the back foot, travels 51 yards in the air, back left corner of the end zone. Cole Kmet catches it. Granted, I don't know what the defense was doing. I don't know what the DBs were doing.
Well, there was a little bit of hand fighting, but
he might have got lost in the shuffle back there. But I mean, it's just the fact that he's able to, like make a throw like that. Like obviously he's nervous.
We're about to go down Chris Collinsworth lane here. There's only 2 guys in the league that can make that throw, and their name starts with Patrick, ends with Mahomes.
I didn't want to bring it up, but dude, like I said earlier, dude, his talent is like undeniable. And like on that play, you could see the arm talent. It's looked a little Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm. That's a little different way of. I thought you were gonna go with it. When he came out of college, I said this guy, and this is no knock on Caleb Williams because this is still a good comparison. But I said he was like the Walmart version of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl champion, and I think Caleb Williams has the talent to be a Super Bowl champion. But I said he's like, he's that step down from Mahomes. You would still take the step down from Mahomes over a lot of guys in the league, just with the playmaking ability. And I like that you brought up that pass, that 14-yard pass to Cole Kmet that he turned into a 51-yard pass yards through the air. That's by Next Gen Stats. Had a 17.8% completion percentage probability. Just insane play there. I almost put him as my Brodie of the week. I was really hoping Chicago was going to pull it out because I was going to claim him as my Brodie of the week. So I'm glad you're at least talking about it because we probably won't recap the games too much.
Right. I mean, he's my Brodie, not because of the counting stats and, it's kind of the clutch factor and how he was able to rise to the situation. So Caleb Williams, first Brodie.
Next Brodie.
My next Brodie is the New York Football Giants. Recently I guess technically, yeah. They recently just hired John Harbaugh, ex-Baltimore Ravens head coach, signed him to a 5-year, approximately $100 million deal. And I think he's taking over a team, obviously not a great team, right? They have the 5th overall pick for a reason. What do they go, 4-5 and 12? I think they won the last 2 games of the season.
Putting our stats department on
it was 5 and 12. I think they won.
You're testing us right. They went 4-13.
Did they? Yeah. I mean, they won the last 2 games of the season, which was kind of dropped them down to the 5th overall pick. But he's taking over a team that has a lot of promise. I would say they have their franchise quarterback in Jackson Dart, 22 years old.
Dan Orlovsky.
You think he's the guy?
No, Dan Orlovsky said the Giants need, what did he say? He went through a whole laundry list. He was like, the Giants are right there.
He didn't say quarterback.
He didn't say quarterback, but he was the defense. He was like, you need a corner, you need a safety, you need linebacker. He went through a whole laundry list of things. He named 12 things.
4-13, like you said.
He's like, they're right there.
I mean,
they're throw you off.
Well, they got the most important part, which I was going to say in a little bit. The most important piece they were missing was a competent head coach that will not only, make the right decisions roster-wise and, coaching-wise, but he's going to bring a winning culture to that locker room, which is what they've been missing. Like, they've been one of the worst teams for the past 5-10 years. It's like them and the Jets that have, the least wins in the league. But, I mean, they have, like I said, 22-year-old Jackson Dart. He's a stud. He's super talented. Traded up for him in this last draft. That got a lot of flack for that, but I think it's paid off. They got Cam Scattaboo, 23 years old, obviously coming off
ankle injury.
A pretty grotesque ankle injury, but I think he's going to be fine. And then they got Malik Neighbors, when healthy, he just tore his ACL, but assuming there's no physical athletic limitations lingering, and I'd say he's probably top 15 receiver in the league already. He's 22.
I think he'll have limitations early in the season next year, but I think after that, yeah.
Yeah, that's, it's certainly a tough injury to come back from, especially as a receiver.
Yeah.
Especially somebody as, as twitchy as him. But defensively, they got Abdul Carter, rookie. They drafted this past year, stud.
Dexter Lawrence.
They got Sexy Dexy, who's probably the best defensive tackle in the league, arguably. And they have Brian Burns, who had the second most sacks.
He looks like a freak of nature.
Second most sacks at 16.5 this season. And also, like I said, 5th overall pick, also 37th overall pick, which, John Harbaugh can either, take somebody at number 5 or, trade down and get even more picks,
Right.
even more players in the mix, kind of just do what he wants. You know, I think there's just a bright future there, and they got a lot to be excited for.
Yeah, I think this is a good hire for the Giants. The one thing I got to say watch out for with Harbaugh is Jackson Dart, rookie last year, spent a lot of time in the blue tent. They got to be more on top of keeping his, physical health at the forefront of like what's important. If he's on the blue tent or if he's out of the game, the best ability is availability. If they try and run him, if John Harbaugh tries to go in there and run him like Lamar Jackson, the Giants will be right back in this position, drafting high again. You have to keep your quarterback healthy. Let Cam Scatterby go in there, put his head down. He's obviously built for it, but you got to protect your quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Jackson Dart does kind of seek out that extra contact, that unnecessary contact.
He thinks he's Cam Scatterby.
He's got to slide. I was going to say, like, let Cam Scatterby do that. He can do that. You can let him do that. You can't let your franchise quarterback do that. So that's all I got.
Well, that might be the only time the Giants are ever the Brodie of the week, when they make a good hire at head coach. I'll get into my Brodies of the week, and I actually don't. One of them is not football related. None of them are NFL related. Well, one of them might be. The first one, Kevin Durant. This past Sunday, he moved into 6th all-time on the scoring list for the NBA, surpassing, I'm wearing the shirt. If anyone's an audio person, I'm wearing a Dirk Nowitzki shirt, the big German. He passed Dirk Nowitzki, so now he's 6th all-time. And he had some words after the game. He said, to be up there with Dirk, someone I looked up to, I idolized, I competed against. We had some great battles. He was always supportive of my career and my game. So, to be up there with a legend like that, it's just insane. And to be right under Michael Jordan, it's crazy, man. I just want to continue stacking up and climbing the charts and see where I finish. It's been amazing so far. Kevin Durant is now at 32,292 points. And as he said, he's right under Michael Jordan. He's 730 points behind Michael Jordan, who's currently 5th on the list. I think it's something we're going to see Kevin Durant definitely surpass Michael Jordan. A lot of people have said he's the greatest scorer of all time in the NBA. He's got every weapon in the bag that you could possibly need. He's a 7-footer. He absolutely can move like he's not a 7-footer. So
he can score at any level.
Yeah. Triple threat.
I don't think he's ever been like listed at 7 feet.
He's 7
but
foot.
they lie about that. They lie about highest of the NBA. He's at least.
He just doesn't want to be deemed as a center. He's also, just for anyone that wants to know, he's 11,141 points behind LeBron James, who's currently 1st. He's also 5 years younger than LeBron James in my research for this. I don't know if he's going to pass LeBron James, but I think he can definitely get past Michael Jordan and possibly Kobe Bryant, who's in 4th, who's 2,000 points ahead of him.
I think he'd easily pass Kobe as well.
And Matt was telling me earlier, he passed Dirk Nowitzki. Matt, what was the shot?
It was he did Dirk's, I don't know if this was intentional, like it probably was. He probably knew he was about to eclipse Dirk. He did a Dirk's signature, fadeaway, high knee in the air. Kind of shot, kind of mid-range.
What if he just does that for every legend that he passes? I don't know what he'd do for LeBron if he ever got to that point, but
I don't know. Like Dirk's would be the main guy that.
They had a signature shot.
If you ask somebody to give like a signature shot that somebody has, it'd be like Kareem's hook shot and then probably Dirk's fadeaway.
It'd be good to go through the signatures. I did see Dirk had a video after. Once he passed him, he's like, keep it up, KD, keep climbing that list. Want to see how far you can go. So it was just cool. Dirk, obviously a class act about it. And I like that Durant mentioned that they had their battles. Everyone remembers the 2011 NBA playoff run that Dirk went on. He went through OKC to get to the finals and then went on to beat the Heat.
That was a baby KD.
Yeah. But then the next season, the OKC Thunder swept the Mavs out of the playoffs. So they definitely went back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, that was KD, Westbrook, and Harden.
Yeah.
That was a young KD, Westbrook, Harden.
Yeah. Kevin Durant is currently in his 18th season. He's a 15-time All-Star. And like I said, he's 37 years old. So we'll see how much farther he gets up this list. But my question to you, Matt, when Kevin Durant retires, which team is he going to retire under? He spent 9 seasons with the OKC Thunder. He spent 3 seasons with the Golden State Warriors and won 2 rings. And then he had 3 seasons with the Brooklyn Nets and then also another 3 with the Phoenix Suns. And then he's in his first season with the Houston Rockets. So when he retires, Where do you think he's going to retire under?
I assume OKC. But, I mean, he did win it. He won an MVP there, but also he won, like, finals MVP on, Golden State. That's where he got his 2 rings.
He got his hardware, yeah.
I'll tell you where it's not going to be. It's not going to be the Nets. It's not going to be the Suns. I mean,
could be the Rockets.
Might be too soon for the Rock, but no.
No.
He's not going to spend 9, he might be able to win a ring or 2 maybe on the Rockets. I don't know, but
when I think of KD, I think OKC Thunder and then kind of Golden State because that's where he won the rings. I mean, I don't really think Nets. I don't think Suns. Obviously, Houston's in his first season, so I don't think that's right now on the cards. But I would say I'd lean towards the Thunder, but I mean, he won an MVP at the Thunder. That was about it.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll be interesting.
He might get his jersey retired.
Him and Westbrook together.
From both.
Yeah.
And Golden State would retire his jersey as well.
Ooh, he double retire the jersey? When he goes in the Hall of Fame, right? Does NBA do it where they go in the Hall of Fame under a team?
I don't know. I mean,
I know that's what the NFL does.
I know like Bill Russell has his number retired, his actual number retired across the entire NBA.
Well, that's interesting.
Right?
Does he?
You
might need to Google search that. Russell's number 6 is retired league-wide in 2022.
Yeah.
Great call out there, Matt.
Thank you. I know.
So I don't know. I don't know where he'll get retired at, but let us know in the comments what you think, Katie. What do you think of when you hear Kevin Durant? My next Brodie of the week, and this will kind of lead us into the national championship recap. Matt thinks I shouldn't do it, but I think we have to mention this guy.
I didn't say you shouldn't do it.
He said I shouldn't do it.
This will be the only 3-time Brodie Award winner.
3-time Brodie of the week, Fernando Mendoza. Actually had, you probably could say all of Indiana, but we're going to do Mendoza because he had his national championship moment against Miami last night. In the fourth quarter, it was 4th and 4. Miami was kind of surging back a little bit. Indiana had driven the ball all the way down to the 12-yard line on Miami. It was 4th and 4. Mendoza calls his own number, does a QB draw right up the middle, runs over a linebacker, and dives towards the end zone. It was an absolute crucial play, kind of put it almost out of reach for Miami. Miami still had kind of a way to get back into it, but he said in his post-game press conference, he was taking shots for his boys in Indiana, and he'll take shots anytime. By God, I think anyone would take shots for their boys. You know what I'm saying? Get to the bar. You got to take shots for the boys.
Yeah, that kind of shots, yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
This was his Heisman moment. I know
the Heisman's already passed.
I know he already won it, but this was what truly justified it. Because I know it was kind of like a wishy-washy award this year. They just kind of gave it away. There's nobody that was head and shoulders above.
It wasn't down here
else
for the Heisman.
Really. But that play just solidified it for me that this guy deserved it.
Yep. And just real quick, Mendoza could be one of 6 college quarterbacks to ever win the Heisman national title and be drafted first overall. Matt, you want to take a guess at the 6? I think you can get 3 of them.
Burrow.
Burrow's one. Wait, yeah, Burrow's one. Burrow was the most recent, 2019.
When the Heisman, Natty, and go number 1?
No, yep, all 3. 2 of these you will not get.
How old? When was the one before Burrow?
It's in the last 15 years, both of them.
Give me a year.
2013.
I don't
your
even know
boy.
Who won that year.
Your boy.
My boy?
Your boy.
2013?
Yep.
Reggie Bush?
Nope.
That was 2005. He didn't go number 1.
He was also not a quarterback.
Well, that's... Oh, you said quarterback?
Actually, I guess it's not quarterback.
My boy?
Yeah.
In 2013?
Crab legs.
Did he go number 1?
He went number 1. Jameis Winston, 2013.
See, I thought about... He popped up in my head, but I didn't...
Yep.
I guess I didn't remember he went number 1. Yeah,
the next one after that was Cam Newton in 2010. And then these last 2 are the ones you weren't going to get. Leon Hart, 1949, and Angelo Bertelli in 1943. Both those guys played for Notre Dame. So you could add Fernando Mendoza to that list. But I've said Fernando Mendoza, he just reminds me of a more elite version of Kirk Cousins, more polished, I think, coming out of college. He's an interesting character.
Right.
I can't wait for the press conferences.
We can't put a Kirk Cousins ceiling on him like that.
I'm just saying out of college. That's when I look at Fernando Mendoza, I don't know if it's the interviews. He also holds the ball the same exact way. He kind of looks like him a little bit. He's just like a taller version of Kirk Cousins. I see Kirk Cousins. If you put those two in a room together, it'd be probably a hilarious interview.
Like, I mean, you watched the interview. Like, I guess what people can't believe is that he dropped the F-bomb.
Oh, yeah, he finally did.
Finally did, dude.
I forgot to check to see his LinkedIn if he's already updated as national champion.
Did you see
some research?
You see his Instagram story that he posted like right after the game?
No.
It was like
he doesn't have Instagram, I thought.
I think he does.
Does he have it now that he won the national championship?
I just saw. I think it was his Instagram. It was him like, you know, I think throwing the ball or whatever, and it said Victory Royale on top of it. Which would like I could see him posting that. He's like
it's so stupid.
Silly. He's a silly, goofy guy.
It's so dumb. Yeah. So getting into it, Indiana takes down Miami 27-21. Indiana's first 16-0 team since 1894. Yale, by the way.
1894.
1894. I might have messed that up last podcast.
132 years.
Is that right? I don't know. I don't know.
I
know it's 1894. Holy. Everyone was really nice to let me know on TikTok about that one.
They were very polite about it.
Honestly, just glad to keep everyone's fact checking me here. Yeah, honestly, not a bad game from Carson Beck. The game was close. I said if it was a 2-score game for Miami and going into half, go ahead and wrap it up, give it to Indiana. That's kind of what it was. It was 10-0. Miami missed a kick going into halftime.
Yeah, the doink, dude.
They had a doink at halftime. They just really could never keep up with Indiana after that. Indiana got the ball coming out after half and was able to put up 7 in the third and then 10 in the fourth, kind of run away with it. Carson Beck, like I said, didn't play too bad, had 232 yards, 1 touchdown, and unfortunately 1 crucial interception as Miami was driving down the field with a chance to win it all. Just absolutely picked off. I don't know what else to say. It was just kind of a throw that he's probably going to want to have back. And, as much as we want to hate on Carson Beck and stuff, I do like to remind people that these are like, well, I don't know if he's technically a kid anymore because he's been in college for 6 years or whatever. But, like, that's his last play in college. He's going to have to live with that. It was in the national championship. At least he had a shot. No one expected Miami to be there, but just you hate to see that. But also, like, I'm so happy for Indiana winning, like, because we said that they were kind of the complete team of destiny.
Yeah. I mean, one bright spot for Miami would be their running back, Mark Fletcher Jr. He just passed, in that game, he passed Ezekiel Elliott for the most rushing yards in college football playoff history. Ended up with 507.
I'm glad you bring it up because I don't think we've talked about him much in the college football playoffs, but he's been a crucial point for Miami. I don't know if he's coming back next year or not, but if he does, he's probably gonna be one of the best backs in the country.
He only had 1 game under 100 rushing yards at the 4 that they played.
That's incredible. Also, Indiana's run. I mean, the game was very close. It was not a shootout by any means. Like I said, it was 10-0 at half. Both teams were running the ball well. Indiana split it up between 2 backs. And then Malachi Toney was absolutely going at it for Miami.
Dude, Malachi Toney's so
probably one of the unsung heroes for Miami in this game.
Also, he's another bright spot, dude. He's going to go quite high in the draft.
I know he's coming back at least for another year because he reclassed this year.
He's coming back?
Dude, so he was 17 and foregone like his senior year reclass. So he was a freshman this year.
Really?
I believe so. Let me double check.
Then why did I think he was? I just assume. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a freshman, so he's coming back. Maybe, hopefully, to Miami.
He has to.
Yeah. And then Indiana, I just want to talk about Charlie Becker real quick, number 80. Absolute made some of the insane catches for Indiana to help put that game away. I mean, it was multiple times. Miami's defense had Indiana pinned down. They were about to get the ball back, and all of a sudden, Fernando Mendoza just throws it over the sideline, and it's an incredible catch. Charlie Becker, I think he had 2 in the fourth quarter to help put the game away. So, insane stuff there. Unfortunately, the 1 interception from Carson Beck is probably that's the difference in this game.
Yeah. I do want to bring up real quick Indiana's record since 2021. So in 2021, they went 2-10. In 22, they went 4-8. In 23, they went 3-9. Last year, they went 11-2, obviously, in the playoffs. This year is 16-0. It's just the greatest program turnaround in college football history? Or is this like arguably one of the greatest turnarounds in sports history?
Ooh, okay. I mean, definitely college for sure. Sports in recent years, I can't think of anything that compares to this. I mean, Indiana was the losingest team in college football history. That cannot be emphasized enough. They did not care about football up till 3 years ago, probably. Like we've showed the picture of like what it looked like in 2023 versus against Oregon in the college football playoffs. Kirk Cignetti, I think has he been there 2 years or 3 years?
This was his second year there.
This is his second year there. So he's only had a positive record since he showed up to Indiana.
That's what I mean when I say like just a complete 180 turnaround.
It wasn't like a rebuilding year or anything. It was he came in and they made it to the college football playoffs.
He took over a 3-9 team, turned it into an 11-2 playoff berth team, and then into a 16-0 national championship winning team. And I know people are going to bring up the average age is like 23 on there, but dude, that doesn't mean they're like is. I mean,
that's how every team. That's what Michigan was a couple years ago. They were a super old team. Like you kind of have to have the veterans in college.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty old, but like it's not like they have supreme talent there.
Right.
It's not like they have 5-star recruits across the board like these other teams that they beat.
Yeah.
It's more like a Cignetti like complete culture change. It's pretty much all coaching, and it's Mendoza. Not to take anything away from Mendoza.
I think they're going to be right in the mix again next year, depending on who they bring in at quarterback.
That's a big,
But
they're going to need to bring somebody in.
It's hard to replace someone like Mendoza, but I mean, with Cignetti and the culture that he's building there, like, and now it's proven, like, hey, if you come to Indiana, you can win a national championship. Like, that's a pretty insane jump from our typical Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, what other LSU, and then it's going to say Indiana. Like that's going to be in the record book. So I think it's definitely it's the greatest turnaround in college football history. And it's probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest in sports history.
Yeah. I mean, their last 4 games for Indiana, they beat Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, and Miami. They scored 134 points against those teams and only let up 56 combined against those 4 teams who have 5-star recruits across the board.
But Indiana just seemed like an absolute complete team. They had, like you said, they held those teams to not a lot of points, and then they put up a lot of points. Very complimentary football.
Also, just one more stat to solidify just how good they were. Their record against AP top 10 teams before 2025, they went 116-1, and this year they went against AP top 10 teams. They went 6-0.
This is all time.
All time.
6-116?
116, and 1 tie.
So they've already doubled it. Or wait, is that 6? No, okay, that 6 is before 2025.
So they matched it in 1 year.
They matched it this year alone.
Yes.
And then they'll probably beat it next year. Like, it's incredible what Cignetti's done. Cignetti, was nice to see him finally smile after the game. He did say that he went and had a beer. I can't remember the Indiana brewery, but he said it was one of the beers from there. So
I thought it was funny when they had the fumble return for a touchdown. His reaction, he was the only one that didn't react on the sideline.
Oh, the block punt?
Yeah, the block
punt. That was definitely one of the key. That was,
yeah.
Talking about key plays, that was one of the ones that turned the game, kind of opened it up for Indiana.
Honestly, that is what I would want from my coach. Like, job's not finished. You're only going up 10-0.
That's how he's been the whole play. When they won the Big Ten, he didn't smile. When they beat Alabama, because they didn't have to play the first round. When they beat Alabama, and then when they beat Oregon, he was absolutely stone cold killer. And now he finally smiled. So
I think
Kobe
he was
kind of, dude. He's. I'm not gonna lie, Cignetti was kind of aura farming this year.
Dude, he was. Bro, what did he say? He was like, "I win. Google me." That was last year, I think.
Look me up. Google me. Yeah.
I win. And what did he do? He won.
Yeah. So I think he's finally. Hopefully, he's done aura farming. It's incredible what he's done there. But with that, we will come back. I think that's all. Our stats department was deep on this game, huh?
We were in the depths. We were in the trenches.
I did see Fernando Mendoza after halftime had liquid chalk on his hand to help him grip the ball. So
really?
The broadcast had to make sure to specify that it wasn't an illegal substance on his hand. So and also
that's interesting.
Yeah, everyone was also shouting out. There was some certain fan from Miami that people were talking about. I have no idea who it is, but
I thought she had a student there.
I don't know, but when we come
Miami
back.
Fan.
I don't know about that, but whenever we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit about the conference championships in the NFL. We're back to do NFL playoffs. what's going on in the conference championships. But before we get into the 2 games that are going on, Matt has something that he wants to get off his chest.
I do, and it's a lot to get off the chest, but it's the Houston Texans versus the New England Patriots game. And I know the Patriots won. I know it's a 12-point game. It was an absolute shit show on both sides for the offense. For the defense, however, different story. I'll begin with the Texans. CJ Stroud becomes first player ever in postseason history to have at least 5 fumbles and at least 5 interceptions in a single postseason. He did this in 2 games. He did this in 2 games.
Yeah.
It took him 2 games to break that record. In the game against the Patriots, he went 20 of 47, 212 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. 1 that was a pick 6. He had a passer rating of 28.
That's pretty good.
If I was out there throwing the ball into the ground every single play, I would have a passer rating of 39.6.
That's not a good look.
Which is higher than 28, by the way. He absolutely just pissed away a generational defensive performance from his own defense. Danielle Hunter, 2 sacks, a TFL. Will Anderson, player of the game. I know they didn't win. Player of the game. 3 sacks, 2 TFLs, 2 forced fumbles, 4 quarterback pressures, 3 run stops, a PFF grade of 91.8.
I will say, I thought every time CJ Stroud gave up the ball, the defense got it right back for him. And then he threw a pick 6, and the defense couldn't be out there to stop the pick 6 from happening.
I can't even imagine. I know the defense probably wasn't. Obviously, they didn't say anything to him, on the sideline because we would know about it probably. But if I'm there, bro, I might rip him a new one.
It was so bad at halftime. The analyst did say that CJ Stroud was playing for his job in the second half, and he might have lost it.
That might be a little
stretch,
excessive, but it's probably not far off.
I mean, we did say in the last episode that for the Texans to win, all CJ Stroud had to go out there and be was mid, and he was far below mid.
Far below mid.
Far below it.
So for the Texans defense, through the 2 playoff games they allowed 13.5 points per game, 211.5 yards per game, 3.5 yards per play. Teams were 5 of 28 on third down, which was Steelers and Patriots. They were a combined 5 of 28 on third down. They had 9 sacks in those 2 games. They had forced 5 turnovers in those 2 games, and they had 2 defensive touchdowns, which both were against the Steelers.
It was a little skewed.
Still, no.
Well, they were both in the Steelers game.
They had 2 defensive. Okay, they had 2 defensive
you could
touchdowns.
Say they averaged 1
in the playoffs. They had 2 defensive touchdowns in the playoffs, which is still a lot more than usual. So, Patriots-wise, they are the first team to win a playoff game with less than 250 total yards, 13 first downs or fewer, and 3+ turnovers.
Well, so
the last 30 teams to have those stats or worse lost by an average of 21.3 points.
I'm going to stop you there. All right. There was some very bad weather going on in the New England area. It was rainy, cold, wet. All right. That, ball's a little slick to hold on to him. And there was a couple interceptions that CJ Stroud threw that might have gone through the hands of his receivers and into the hands of a defensive back. But you're right. He did not play his best. He missed a lot of throws.
Those are the Patriots stats.
No, I'm talking just in general about the Texans. But it also, the Patriots also had to play in that weather.
Granted, they might be more used to it, obviously.
Yeah, Texans a dome team.
Patriots had 4 yards per play in that game. They went 3 of 14 on third downs, and they gave up 5 sacks.
Yeah.
So to give CJ Stroud to make it not seem as bad of how he played in those 2 playoff games. Drake May so far these playoffs. He has 4 touchdowns. He has 2 interceptions, and he has 6 fumbles.
Seems like the younger quarterbacks are having issues in the playoffs with turnovers.
Granted, this was his first time in the playoffs.
Yeah,
so I'll give him some leeway. CJ Stroud has been there 3 straight years.
Say what you want to say about CJ Stroud real quick. There's one thing I know that's on the tip of your tongue that you want to say. So go ahead and say it about the GOAT.
Brees?
Yeah. Well, what would he have done with this defense? You were telling me about it.
Won the Super Bowl. That's just first and foremost. He would have won the Super Bowl this year with that defense. But I didn't even want to bring it up. You brought it up. You're giving me the layup here.
Yeah.
You're giving me the people are gonna rip me apart.
I'm giving you the green light. Go ahead.
Yeah, Drew Brees. I mean, it's neither here nor there. But if he had a defense like this, like Tom Brady had, he would also have 7 rings.
Yeah.
Anyways,
all right.
Back to the game. Back to the defensive battle between the two teams, because the Patriots defense did have an exceptional game as well. They forced 5 turnovers, had a pick 6, obviously, 3 sacks, allowed less than 50 rushing yards, only allowed 1 touchdown, and the only other team to post stats that good in the playoffs, in a playoff game, was think of a really good defense.
It would have had
really, really, really good defense. Arguably one of the best defenses ever.
Well, I'll go with the best of all time, the Chicago Bears.
The 85 Bears.
Okay.
And Super Bowl
the Steel Curtain.
85 Bears and Super Bowl XX against the New England Patriots.
Wait, the Patriots made the Super Bowl in 1985?
Apparently.
Yeah, that's insane. I thought they didn't start making Super Bowls until Tom Brady got there.
Apparently not.
No, apparently not.
But, defensive slugfest.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough for both quarterbacks, but CJ Stroud,
pissed down his leg.
He did piss down his leg. Do I think he's that bad? No. I think he's a little better than that. I know there's Texans fans in the comments already. They're already typing.
I think they're probably going to agree with you. I've talked to some Texans fans, and they were absolutely disgusted with that performance that was put on. So
10 turnovers. Granted, he had 5 fumbles, but I think only 2 of those got recovered by the Steelers, whatever. So he had 6 turnovers in 2 games. I mean, when your defense is only giving up 13.5 points per game, granted it's a 2-game span, but when your defense is that good, I mean, I think the Patriots only scored 28 points because 6 of those were from a pick 6, and they got the ball 3 other times.
Yeah,
the offense got the ball three extra times because the defense had interceptions. So this game was a lot closer. It was only 12 points, but I think it was a lot closer than even that.
It fell a lot farther than that.
I mean, yeah.
Moving on. Let's get off of that game.
I'll get off. Yeah,
I know you just wanted to rip them a new one.
I did.
Let's get into Conference Championship Sunday coming up this week. And there is a fun little fact here. Both head coaches in both games. Well, there will be a Mike and a Sean. A Mike Vrabel versus a Sean Payton, and a Sean McVay versus a Mike McDonald. So, fun stuff there. Starting off with the AFC Championship game at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Broncos taking on the said Patriots. As Matt alluded to, we think it's going to be a defensive slugfest. It's also going to be, Matt, it's going to be the 15th straight year.
15th straight year of either the Chiefs or the Patriots in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat. You want to talk about just teams that have owned the AFC? Chiefs and Patriots since 2011.
We thought we kind of got away from it this year because Chiefs didn't even make the playoffs. Turns out it's just inevitable.
Yeah,
the Patriots are Thanos.
Patriots fans born after 2000, you don't know what poverty's like.
You don't know what heartbreak is like.
Yeah,
you don't know what it's like to struggle.
Yeah, Bo Nix is going to be out of this game. It came out after the last game against the Bills. He broke his ankle and is out for the season. Enter Jarrett Stidham to start. He will be the first. Yeah, Sean Payton calls him Stiddy. He's the first quarterback to make his postseason start in a conference championship since the Great 12, Roger Staubach, Cowboys legend in 1972, per Adam Schefter. However, our analytics department did a little more research into what happened in 1972 when Roger Staubach made his first start. Washington absolutely destroyed the Cowboys 26-3 and then went on to win the Super Bowl. So if I was a Patriots fan, I'd be really happy about what's going on. If you're wondering who Jarrett Stidham is, he had his last pass attempt in 2023 in Week 18 at Las Vegas. Matt, do you have his career stats?
I do, yeah. He's played in 17 games in his career. I think he's appeared in 20.
I think he's
in 3 of those he didn't throw a pass.
I think in 4 of those he's only started. 1 and 3 as a starter.
Right. These are kind of skewed. It's not, and one of them he only attempted 4 passes, but he's played in 17 games, only started, like you said, 4. In those 4, I guess in the the games that he appeared in. 59.4% completion percentage, 1,422 pass yards, 8 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions. 1-1-8 isn't too bad for a guy with very little experience, way less than a full season. 78.3 passer rating, which also is not bad at all. So maybe there's some hope. There's some hope there. There's also some hope because, when your head coach comes out and says that
they already have a nickname for him.
He already has a nickname for him, and he's got faith in him.
Yeah. I did see that he was a backup for the Patriots for a little bit, and he was under Tom Brady. So maybe he's going to have a little bit of that.
Got some wisdom there.
Mentorship going on.
Yeah.
Coming into this game. Jarrett Stidham was drafted by the Patriots. Josh McDaniels, who is the Patriots offensive coordinator, he was the head coach for the Raiders at the time. He traded for him and started him after benching Derek Carr. Now Stidham is set to start for the Broncos and is going to be against the Patriots and Josh McDaniels in the AFC Championship game. So a little revenge game there.
He might know a little thing or two.
He might know a little bit thing or two, or Josh McDaniels is going to know a thing or two about him, kind of his tendencies, because there's not a lot of film on him. You'd have to go watch film from 2023 to see him actually play.
Yeah. Granted, I will say
so he's a wild card.
If I'm a fan of a team and my starting quarterback goes down, and it's like going to the conference championship or whatever, and a backup quarterback is coming in that doesn't have a lot of experience. If there's one coach that I want, it's probably Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Because he has the ability to scheme up some crazy stuff, make some easy throws for him, scheme up some easy plays for him. Right. He's used to his post Breeze. He had a winning record with Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian. It was a whole
journeyman
quarterback carousel of just guys who are not that good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Jarrett Stidham, an absolute wild card. He's either going to come in and it's going to be maybe look like CJ Stroud, or he's going to come in and look like Nick Foles in the postseason run that he had with the Eagles. You don't really know what to expect in this game. It kind of makes a wild card. I will say the Broncos defense, very good defense. We saw what they were able to do to Josh Allen. So
they give up 27 points.
27 points, but we're able to turn the ball over against them. So, that's something with Drake May. Fun little fact here. Because of this game, either Drake May or Jarrett Stidham will have a Super Bowl appearance before Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, or the entire Lions franchise. I kind of am rooting for Jarrett Stidham to just come out here and ball out. But also, that Super Bowl would not be a fun, if you got to see him go against the Eagles, if you got to see him go against the Seahawks or the Rams, but I don't know. The Patriots' path that they've had so far to this point, they haven't really had to play really elite competition. The hardest quarterback they had to play was Josh Allen twice. Now, granted, Josh Allen's a great quarterback, and they split this series with him, but if you look at the rest of the games and even what the playoff run has been for him, it's been Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, and now Jarrett Stidham.
Granted, they played against one of the best defenses of all time in the Texans, but they lucked out and also got to play against CJ Stroud in that same game. So
I think everyone had this matchup kind of penciled in, it was going to be Patriots Broncos, but we thought it was going to be Bo Nix versus Drake May. I'm really hoping Jarrett Stidham goes out there and proves me wrong. Matt, what do you think the line is for this game?
Isn't it 7?
It's moved down
Patriots?
A little bit. It's down a little bit. It's 5.5 Patriots.
Why?
Maybe Bo Nix is going to go out there and play for the first series or something.
I did hear that his injury really wasn't too bad. And so if the Broncos do win, he might have a shot at coming back for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you do get an extra week of rest for the Super Bowl because the Pro Bowl's going on.
Yeah. Also, I did see that if Bo Nix was in this game, the line would have been Broncos 1.5, I believe.
Yeah.
That's
probably where I would have put it. Matt, I'll ask you this question, even though I think I know where we're going to go with it. Who are you taking in this game?
Take it Patriots.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you on the Patriots.
It's not going to be I don't think it's going to be a blowout because this will be Drake May's 3rd game ever in the playoffs. And I know he's going against Jarrett Stidham, technically, but he's going against the Broncos defense and against Sean Payton, a Hall of Fame coach. When he calls it quits, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And he's got a Super Bowl under his belt. He's one of the best coaches of all time. Not a defensive guy, but offensively, I think he will be able to put points on the board.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
I like that you said this probably won't be a blowout. It is a home game for the Broncos, and so Stidham's got that going. If he had to go into New England, especially with like the winter storms that are moving in through there right now, like would have been a tough place to go in and play, hard environment stuff. He's going to be at home. He's going to have the fans on his side. It's going to be kind of, more familiar lay of the land for him, although he is was drafted by the Patriots, so he knows Gillette Stadium very well. But yeah, I think it's going to be Patriots here. I can't see a world where Stidham pulls this one out, but I would love to see him do it. But also, I think the Patriots would make a more competitive Super Bowl. So with that being said, it sucks whenever your starting quarterback goes down. I hate it for Broncos fans because they had such a good season going.
You know what?
They'll probably be back.
I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to get roasted in the comments. But this might be a little football justice. Bo Nix kind of breaking his ankle, being out. Because
I don't know where you're going with this.
Last drive, Broncos-Bills last drive, they were gifted 53 yards off of penalties in that last drive.
Yeah, I see where you're going with
I mean, if you're going to call pass interference, twice, how many ever times they called it on that last drive, you got to call it the same way during the regular time during the game. You can't just decide, it's overtime. Maybe I should be more strict now. It shouldn't work that way.
Hindsight's 20/20. But if I would have known Bo Nix's ankle was going to be broken, I would have wished the Bills would have won that game, even though we were picking against Josh Allen on the podcast.
That's kind of helping.
We're rooting for the Broncos, but now I'm kind of wishing it would have been Josh Allen versus Drake May.
But also, could I be saying this because I'm mad that Sean Payton has finally got his pass interference calls to go his way? Yes.
Well, I was going to bring this up next week if it ended up happening, but shout out to all the Saints, the ex-Saints players and coaches that are having success in the playoffs. That kind of leads us into our next game, but yeah, I won't do that to you. Sean Payton, he's actually having days in the playoffs right now.
Also, there's a lot of Saints players on the Broncos as well, ex-Saints.
Yeah. You guys had it all.
The Denver Saints, okay.
But not to make this a Saints segment, we'll move on to the next game here. Seahawks taking on the Rams at 5:30 for the NFC Championship. One of the main injuries in this game, Zach Charbonnet, backup running back for the Seahawks, tore his ACL in the last game and is out for the season. Unfortunate, man. I like Zach Charbonnet. I had him on my fantasy team. I was kind of rooting for him. But it seems like the Seahawks might be in good graces with Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker absolutely been balling out, especially the last game had, 3 touchdowns?
He had 19 carries, 116 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Seahawks are in the NFC Championship again since 2014 when they had the Legion of Boom. And Sam Darnold got his first playoff win last week, which is crazy. That's his first playoff win.
Crazy?
Which he's been in the league for 8 years. He got his first playoff win. He might get another one this week.
Been a lot of quarterbacks have been in the league that long.
Yeah. Now, what's the stats you have down here?
I got a little fun. Our
stats department was hot this week.
We were on one. I got something fun. So, the Rams' number 1 scoring offense versus the Seahawks, the number 1 scoring defense. This will be the first time those two, number 1 scoring offense versus number 1 scoring defense, first time they will meet. They have met since in a conference championship since 2014. You kind of just alluded to it. It was the Seahawks.
Legion of Boom.
The Seahawks, Legion of Boom, versus the Packers and MVP Aaron Rodgers. And in 2014, the Seahawks won that game.
So take the defense in this game.
You might want to.
I mean, the Rams also have a very good defense.
They do have a good defense. These teams did split the regular season series. And in those games combined, Rams scored 58 points to the Seahawks 57. And the total yards for the Rams in those 2 games was 830. And the Seahawks total yards in those 2 games were 829.
And this is a good thing you bring up. They split the series. We remember the last game that they played in the season was an absolute, probably one of the best Thursday night football games that we had all year. It was the Seahawks' epic comeback to take down the Rams in Seattle. And that was pretty much for control of who was going to be the 1 seed. It's the reason why the Rams have been on the road in the playoffs and the Seahawks have been kind of resting up at home, getting ready for this. So the Rams have to come back, and we get a rematch of that insane Thursday night football game.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good one.
Seahawks have a great defense, but the Rams obviously can score a lot of points against them.
Yeah. This is I have down here, Cooper Kupp revenge game. The last time the Rams won the Super Bowl, which was recently, was it 2021? I think it was 2021. It was after 2020. Cooper Kupp was the Super Bowl MVP, and now he's on the opposite sidelines for Seattle. However, I don't think Cooper Kupp is going to be the leading receiver for Seattle. We got JSN, who has been absolutely a dog, and I think he has like 40% of the offense. 40% of the offense like runs through him this season.
Yeah, I think they had the least passing plays offensively, but for a team, they had the least passing plays, and Jason still did what he did. You know,
yeah, he's going to be one of the key players to watch in this game. I'm going to be interested to see what happens with the Seahawks missing that 1-2 punch.
They do have that. I think they
won't have that this game.
Their workload was like very similar during the season, but with Zach Charbonnet going down, Kenneth Walker was able to shine, being the bell cow guy.
Yeah,
every down, and obviously we saw how good he can be, and I think he might be the X factor. I think they need to feed K9 this weekend.
Yeah,
I think he might be more of
defense.
He might be more of a factor than JSN.
This is definitely why they had Zach Charbonnet there, so they could keep Kenneth Walker rested for the season. Unfortunately, they probably wish they had both of them still going into this game and hopefully the Super Bowl. But now we get to see kind of Kenneth Walker get to see the show. And I got to see who the backup is that they're bringing in to replace him or replace Zach Charbonnet, but should be an interesting one. I mean, the Rams are absolutely rolling right now. I think that win last week was a big team win. I was really hoping the Bears would pull it out, but we get the Rams, and now Stafford's probably the most veteran quarterback remaining in the playoffs. Actually, he is the most veteran quarterback remaining in the playoffs. Matt, do you have the passing yards for him for the quarterbacks remaining?
I do. It's obviously going to be very lopsided, considering he's the only longtime veteran. For the 4 remaining quarterbacks in the playoffs, their career playoff passing yards, Stafford has 3,558. Drake May has 447. Sam Darnold has 369. And Stiddy, obviously, 0. But that'll change That's going to change on Sunday.
I did see he has -1 rushing yard this season because he took a kneel down.
Oh, did he? Okay. I knew he didn't have a pass attempt this season. I didn't know if he went in.
Yeah, it was a blowout game. He went and took a knee. So
also, little fun little tidbit. Most playoff wins for a quarterback after their 33rd birthday. Tom Brady is at 21. Jim Plunkett is at 8. And there's a 4-way tie for 7. That is Matthew Stafford, Peyton Manning, John Elway, and your boy, Roger Staubach.
Came up twice in this segment. Roger Staubach, playoff legend.
The first 2 times and the last 2 times.
Yep. What is, do we know Sam Darnold, is he still injured? I know he is fighting that oblique injury.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously I don't think they've had a practice yet, but it really didn't.
But obviously he's going to play.
There's a lot of speculation coming to that game. Maybe he's going to play. There's, talks about what's his face coming in.
Drew Lock?
Potentially. Drew Lock. Potential
Jalen
Drew
Milroe?
Lock. Potential Drew Lock. No, not your boy. Potential Drew Lock play time in that last game. But
I'm actually interested to see what they're going to do with the running back situation. I was just looking here. Kenneth Walker is the only running back that they have that's not out or on IR.
I think they signed somebody today?
They might have signed someone today. But they have George Hulani, who's on IR, Zach Charbonnet, who just tore his ACL, and Kenny McIntosh, who's also on IR. So maybe they take Jalen Milroe, put him as the second running back.
Yeah, absolutely.
He got the speed. That actually would be an insane play.
Also, speaking of that, I thought maybe the Broncos would do a little something fun with RJ Harvey, and they're getting J.K. Dobbins back this week.
Oh, J.K. Dobbins is back?
They just activated him off IR. So maybe there'll be a little fun Sean Payton, little formation,
little run heavy
option kind of thing.
They just run the Army playbook, just like the option every time.
Good. Apparently RJ Harvey, coming out of high school, was a quarterback.
No, just from the Wildcat.
He was a 0-star quarterback. I assume it's because his stature is not ideal for a quarterback, but obviously he's a very good running back. And Sean Payton does love his players that can play multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
Taysom Hill. He does love drawing up some fancy trick plays. I think they got to do something they got to do something like that.
Yeah.
They can't just put it on City's shoulders. It's got to
they
got to be able to run the ball. They got to be able to do some trickery, some type of something.
Not to get us back on Patriots Broncos, but Matt, who are you taking in the Rams Seahawks game? This one's actually an actual think about it for a little bit, I will say Seattle is favored 2.5 in this game.
Yeah, that wouldn't affect my decision.
I would say it's a lot closer.
I mean, Matt Stafford has been there, done that. Obviously, is a Super Bowl. I'm gonna go Rams.
Going Rams?
I think I think their offense is just might be too much. I know they split the series, but
I think you're in tune with the Rams pretty well. I would think about going Rams, but I'm going to lean Seahawks. I think just at home. I've heard how loud that stadium is. It's the loudest stadium in the NFL. The fans are the 12s, more than Kyle Field, more than the Aggies. They're a louder stadium. So I'm rolling with the Seahawks. I'm going to take Sam Darnold, and I think Sam Darnold will be the first quarterback. If he does win this game, if Sam Darnold wins the NFC Championship, he would be the first quarterback out of the 2018 draft to make a Super Bowl. Just to remind you what quarterbacks were drafted, Baker Mayfield was taken 1-1. Sam Darnold was taken with the 3rd pick. Josh Allen was taken with the 7th pick. Josh Rosen taken with the 10th pick. And Lamar Jackson taken with the 32nd pick. So Sam Darnold would be the first one to make it out of that draft.
I think Josh Rosen has his own insurance company now.
Yeah, he's out of the league, but
But I'm going to lean on. I mean, it's a conference championship game. I'm going to lean on the veteran, the experience, able to put up points.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean,
I think the Rams are the healthier team coming into this game.
I know the Seahawks put up 41 last week, but Rashid Shaheed was 6 of that, and 49ers were struggling.
That last week they won by 35 points. The last time they won by 35 in the playoffs,
Seahawks.
Yeah, it was against the Broncos in 2013, the Super Bowl, when they absolutely blew them out of the water.
Yeah.
I think they won that game 41-8 or something. Or
it was
like 40. Right. Yeah, it was like 40 something. I know they held the Broncos to 8. Might have been 43-8. 43-8. They held the number one offense at that time to 8 points. So
yeah, that was the infamous Cam Newton reaching for the fumble. And
no, that was the next year.
Was that not?
That was Broncos Panthers.
This was
the fastest touchdown in NFL history.
It was snap one over his head.
Snap over his head, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Peyton Manning running for his life backward.
Yeah.
First play of the game. So all right, cool. That's our you got another stat for me?
I got you the running back they just signed to their active roster.
All right, who is it?
It's legend Velus Jones Jr.
Who?
Velus Jones Jr. They just signed him. Jr. He was on the Saints this year.
Oh, okay, so he's coming in. Experience.
Yeah, they waived him. Seahawks signed him to the practice squad. They activated him. So
give me a scatter report as a Saints fan. What did you see out of him? Did he play at all for you guys?
He did, because we also had running back injuries. I mean, he's more like a scat back type, not just like a bell cow. He's not like a bell cow running back. He's good, passing in the passing game as well.
Shout out to the Saints players, man. There's so many Saints in this conference championship weekend.
They're just not playing for the Saints, unfortunately.
You guys had all the talent. It's just you guys couldn't utilize it right.
Okay, I don't know. Rashid Shaheed's the only one that was actually really talented.
Well, yeah. Will Lutz, Broncos kicker.
All right.
Yeah.
Him as well, whatever, dude.
Yeah. We'll move on to some other NFL news going around right now. And recently, there's been a lot of talk with what the coaches have had going on. Big news that came out this week. Bills fire head coach Sean McDermott after, I believe, 8 seasons in the league. Regular season record of 98-50 and 8-8 in the playoffs. Matt, do you agree with this firing?
I've seen some stuff on Twitter saying maybe he's kind of being scapegoated. Maybe it's the GM that is really the problem there. I'm not really adept in the Buffalo Bills.
Well, they just promoted their GM,
arena.
Or they gave him an extension. So they fire the head coach and give the GM the extension. Normally, the head coach and the GM are tied together. Yeah. But I believe this is the right move after this many seasons. Sean McDermott, defensive-minded head coach. I think they probably want to get someone in there with an offensive mind with Josh Allen. See kind of what happens there. You kind of have to switch things up a bit because it's kind of been the same old, same old. The Bills are the first team to lose I think 3 years in a row in the playoffs by 3 points or less in these games. So it's been absolute heartbreak for Bills fans. They kind of just have to switch things up a little bit. I believe, they would have stayed good in the regular season and stuff. They would have kept doing what they were doing. It's just they keep running into the same wall in the playoffs. Yeah. So they just had to make a move.
I mean, now...
And you can't get rid of Josh Allen.
Just one MVP.
Yeah,
I know it's turned the ball over a lot in the playoffs, but obviously you're not going to get rid of him.
Yeah, you can't get rid of Josh Allen, so...
Just another stat I have that might be rubbing the dirt in for Bills fans. Only 4 teams have won a playoff game in 6 consecutive seasons. One of those teams was the Cowboys in 1991 to 1996.
Hell yeah.
They won 3 Super Bowls during that span.
Hell yeah.
Second team, the Patriots.
Haven't been back since.
Haven't even made the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
Anyways, Patriots 2011 to 2018. They also won 3 Super Bowls during that span.
Mm-hmm.
Third team, the City Chiefs, 2018 to 2024. They also won three Super Bowls during that span.
Geez, so if you could win 3 Super Bowls all the time,
right? Yeah. Unless you're the Bills from 2020 to 2025, where you win 0. How many Super Bowls
did they win? 0?
Big old goose egg. And I think that also might be the issue. No. I mean, did they only have 1 AFC championship? Like during Josh Allen's tenure there?
They've won the AFC East 5 times since Sean McDermott's been there.
Yeah, but I think they've only made the
5
AFC
straight times.
I think they've only made the AFC championship once.
Well, actually, I don't know why I have this, but I have this.
The rest of the losses were either wild card or divisional.
They've lost in the championship twice to the Chiefs.
Oh.
2024 to 2025, and then the 2020 to 2021 season.
Okay, so I mean, that's an issue.
Yeah,
obviously.
I would like to see Sean McDermott. I heard this floated out there. Bring him to the Cowboys as a defensive coordinator.
Do you think he would even?
I don't know if he would, but I'd take anything over Eberflus last year.
I'm not saying do you think he would go to the Cowboys. I'm just saying do you think he would go down to a coordinator job?
I think that's what you see with a lot of coaches. They normally go back down to defensive coordinator, whatever their specialty is, and then they come back.
If they're bad.
Well,
like Robert Saleh.
Or Dan Quinn, who lost as the Falcons head coach, 28-3, and then did the Cowboys defensive coordinator. Now he's back as the head coach in Washington.
Yeah, but
listen, if I'm the Cowboys, I at least make the call.
You have to. You got to make the call. You got to pick up the horn. You got to call him.
You got to make him say no.
You're going to make him say no.
Jerry, get on the phone.
Jerry's going to make him say no.
Hey, Sean. Hey, Sean, we want to get you down here to Dallas. Put a star on that hat.
Open check. We got a blank check for you.
Yeah, come on down, Sean. We need you. We need you on the Cowboys right now. You see Dak Prescott? He just needs a defense.
You're not wrong. But I mean, there's 8 other head coaching vacancies right now. One of those.
There's actually only 6. So there were some new hires that just went down. Stefanski with the Falcons, Jeff Hafley with the Dolphins, Harbaugh with the Giants, and now Robert Saleh with the Titans.
I forgot the Falcons hired. I didn't know about the Dolphins. When did that come out?
That came out today. He was the Green Bay's defensive coordinator. I got it from Rappaport on Instagram. Okay, well,
still, there's 6 head coaching vacancies.
Mm-hmm.
They're all going to call Sean McDermott's phone.
Yeah, the Browns are definitely going to call him. Well, I guess the Bills won't call him.
Okay, there's 5 head coaching vacancies.
That will call him.
That will call him. I guess they wouldn't call him back up.
What if they were just like, hey, we lied. We lied. We actually want you back. Please come back. We lied. All right. Yeah, so there's 6 head coaching vacancies, I believe. Kevin Stefanski was just hired by the Falcons. Jeff Hafley was hired by the Dolphins. The only thing I know about him, Green Bay's defensive coordinator. John Harbaugh with the Giants, Matt's Brodie of the week. And then the Titans hired Robert Saleh. So they're filling up the coaching carousel. This has been the most, like, coaching changes we've seen in a while in 1 year.
At 10?
Yeah. I mean, that's like 1/3 of the league almost.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely the most, like, good teams that have fired their coach. Like, it's not like the Steelers, Ravens, and Bills are bad teams. Obviously, they're not.
Yeah, it's Browns, Raiders, and Cardinals are also the other teams looking for head coaches. Raiders seem intriguing just because you get the number 1 pick, but it's going to be a little bit more that you have to do. I'll be interested to see. We're going to see a lot of, I think with all these vacancies, Sean McDermott probably will have a head coaching spot, but I'd love for the Cowboys to call him.
Mike McDaniels just got hired to the Chargers as their offensive coordinator.
That will be...
Which is That'd be fun.
See what he can do with Justin Herbert.
Unfortunately, he can't play offensive line for Justin Herbert, which is the only issue there, really.
Fortunate. With that, we can get into some other news that's going on in the league. Start off with one that we missed earlier. Fernando Mendoza's little brother, Alberto Mendoza, entered the transfer portal after Indiana won the national championship. Breaking news, he signed with Georgia. Was it Georgia State or Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech.
He signed with Georgia Tech.
Because they're losing Haynes King to the draft.
Yep. So, draft is right around the corner, Matt. You're going to have to get your big board ready.
I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
But I thought this might be a little, I mean, I know we haven't seen Alberto this year.
Seen him a little bit.
Play.
Blowouts.
I mean, he can't be that good, I guess.
You don't think he's going to be better than Fernando?
I mean,
he's version 2.
Obviously, no. But like, if you're
to hear him in an interview to know if he's good or not. If he speaks like Fernando, then yeah,
that is fair. But I mean, your big bro, just won the Heisman. You got the same blood in you. It's the same blood. They're not going to give you a chance.
Got to at least
I guess obviously not.
Has.
Obviously not. They didn't.
And Georgia
stayed.
Georgia Tech's an ACC, so he probably wants to play Miami again. Show him what he can do.
They're losing 2 quarterbacks now.
Yeah,
Indiana is.
They'll be good. They'll be fine. What's this other thing here you got down?
Yeah, something crazy came out recently, as recent as today. Darian Mensah is getting Duke's quarterback. He's getting sued by Duke.
Why is he getting sued?
He signed a multi-year deal in July of 2025 that ends December 31st of this year, 2026. And he entered the portal. He signed the deal. He, obviously played the season at Duke. Everything is pointing to him sticking there and playing there for this next season. And right, like the day before or the day of the deadline, he enters the draft portal.
Damn.
And so Duke is like, obviously they're pissed.
Hey man, didn't you sign with us?
Exactly. They're claiming he signed an NIL deal and has to say, which is completely fair. They have all the rights to him. Yeah. I'm not sure why he would even enter the portal. I'm not sure how that really works.
When is the portal deadline?
It passed.
It just hit. I just heard someone.
I
heard someone talking about it. It's kind of sad what happens to some of the players that go to the portal that don't end up getting signed by any teams. They pretty much just
that's got to be tough.
They end up just falling out of football. This is apparently like a big problem that's been coming up. I heard someone talk. I'm trying to remember what the source was on it, but they were just saying like a lot of players that go into the portal, they don't end up actually getting any offers, and so they're just pretty much out of football. That's pretty much the end of their career. Which sucks. You don't want to see, obviously you had a good thing going at a smaller school. But it's their choice to go to the portal. But now with all the agents and everything, it's just making college football a little tough. Especially all these big schools are signing quarterbacks and like the high talent, the high prospects. But then the right. Little guys aren't getting looked at as much. So
apparently the deadline was the 16th.
Okay. Right before the national championship. That whole timeline needs to change what they got going on in college football. That's something that they should look at.
I agree. And even before NIL started, when it was being discussed as a potential thing that could happen, I was all for it. They bring in, a substantial amount of money. For colleges, this is the football brings in majority.
Yeah.
Of their funds, sports wise. So they should get compensated.
Give them a little something.
But when it comes to, Darian Mensah, when he signs a deal and he commits, and he gives his word to his school that he's going to be there, and he just tries to up and leave them, that's an issue, right? I know we're not much older than these guys, but they got to know the value of their word, and they got to stick to what they say they're going to do.
If you're signing contracts like Darian Mensah, then you kind of got to stick it out.
Especially when it's in the millions now.
Yeah. These schools aren't going to play about their money. So with that, we won't do one final question this week just because this episode seems like it's getting a little long. We did a lot of what was going on. So we'll save that for next week. And we also need to talk about the MLB if that's going towards a lockout. But I think we're going to save that because next week's going to be Pro Bowl week. So we won't have too much football to talk about. So we'll save that for next week. We'll get into closing out the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe over on the YouTube. Turn on the notifications. Follow us on Spotify, rate the show, all the good things. If you want to stay up to date on the show, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you don't miss a beat with what's going on the Brodie Pod. And with that, we will see you guys next week. And we're going to know who's in the Super Bowl, who's going to the Super Bowl. Everyone take care. God bless. And Matt.
Love y'all.
Light up.